I'm a 50-year-old shaman who moved to the United States in the early 80s. My first stop was in Fresno, California. Around year 1995, my family moved an apartment in Valdez, North Carolina. Now, when I say family, I meant my wife, my kids, and all my kids' children. Altogether, there was 18 of us living in a two-story apartment. The apartment building had 9 apartments in total, lined in a single straight line to an end of a paved road. At the end of the paved road was where my family lived, apartment 9. I know a lot you guys are thinking 18. Yes, 18 members occupied such a little space. We was new to the United States and money was scarce. Everyone was living paycheck to paycheck trying to make ends meet. Almost all of the apartments there was being rented by my relatives also. It was a great place for me being older. I couldn't do much. I was a father to most families there. Being a shaman, many people knew me and would ask me for help in the spiritual realm, so I wasn't bored at all. My days consisted of relatives coming over to hang out or healing families with sickness. My kids were trying their best to start the American dream, and I didn't drive or know anything about these blue-eye humans, so I stayed within my culture. I have nothing against Americans, it's just that I can't understand them, and like I said, I'm in my 50s. My kids got me from here, I told myself. Being a shaman in the old country, I encountered many spirits. What surprised me was the fact that in America there's not much difference. Wandering spirits or entities are just as many here. My third eye can see and sense them. Some days I would see wandering shadows walking by or standing at random places. I don't bother them, and they don't bother me as I've learned to live with them. There are times when the evil appears, and that is when I am called for assistance. I've seen the good, the bad, the ugly. I remember the very first encounter of a spirit at apartment 9. The sun had gone down, and I'm in the living room. It was just my wife and I awake watching television. Everyone else had gone to sleep upstairs. Most of my kids' children were in elementary or middle school, so they all usually tuck their kids in by 8 p.m. I'm watching TV when a loud knock on the door turned my head towards the front door. It was a soft knock. I grabbed the remote and paused the television. It's almost 10 at night. Who would come at this time, I thought to myself. 3 soft knock, 2 knocks, 1 knock. Then it stopped. I walked to the door and peeked through the hole. There was nobody there. Don't tell me it's the relatives' teenagers messing around, I said. I opened the door, and there stood a headless dark entity. It just stood there. My body froze. The entity raised its hand and pointed at me. Like I said before, I'm used to seeing spirits, but spirits usually leaves us alone. An encounter like this is rare when they purposefully show their presence or can touch objects. I took a deep breath and said, I don't know who you are. I don't know what your reason is. My family lives here now. Please go on your way and leave us alone. I closed the door and walked back to sit down with my wife. She asked me who it was. I told her it was just one of the teens messing around, so I told them to go home. My wife looked at me and scorned about the kids, and we continued watching television. After that encounter, I noticed a shadow would linger around the outside of apartment 9. That shadow didn't move to other apartments. It stayed around mine. One night, I was at apartment 4 talking to one of the old ladies that lived there. We chatted for quite some time. She had no husband, so when I was bored, I'd go over to her place. Hey, I'm a young guy at heart. The sun was setting, so I told her I was leaving. We said our goodbyes, and I walked back to my apartment. Going back to the apartments, I could either take a left that leads straight to the front door, but I would have to walk on the gravel road where all the cars parked, or walk on the sidewalk. Located in front of all the apartments, which took me through a little walk tunnel. I would have to pass the tunnel, make a left, and then a right to the front door. I decided to take the sidewalk. I passed the tunnel and noticed the lady I was talking to is now walking down the stairs to my right that leads to the back of the apartments. She's not that fast, and where is she going? I'm going to follow her, I thought. I yelled, hey, wait. She didn't stop but continued. Her pace was fast, as if she was power walking. I could see her clearly with the exact same clothes from earlier. I wanted to ask her what she was doing so late, and if she's going to take out the trash, I can walk her. It seems like that's what she was doing, taking out the trash, so I followed. She turned right at the end of the stairs and disappeared around the building. When I got to the end of the stairs and turned right to catch a glimpse of her, that lady, she was all the way at the end of the apartments already. There's no way she had run that fast. She couldn't have ran 8 apartment lengths in seconds. The lady, or should I say spirit, had her head in the dumpster. It looked like she was looking around to find something in there. She was leaning so far and I couldn't see her head. She grabbed a hold of what looked like a white trash bag and started licking it. Some trash fell down, and she picked it up and tried eating something I couldn't see well because I was so far out. The figure slowly turns around towards me and my vision blurred. Tunnel vision kicked in and I turned and ran for it. All I had to beat was 3 sets of stairs. My knees were weak. I was hyperventilating and my body wouldn't move any quicker than it should. This time, it felt forever to get to the front door. When I reached the front door, thank goodness it wasn't locked. You could basically say I stumbled into the living room and landed on the couch. My oldest son was sitting on the couch when this happened. He stood up and tried talking to me, but it took me a few seconds to get my words right. It took him to basically yell at me to snap me back to reality. I told him what had happened, and by that time my whole family had surrounded me. They were trying to know what had happened to me also. My wife yelled at me saying, "Why in hell am I at that lady's house anyways and it's late?" I don't know why this encounter scared me so much. My wife and I grabbed some joss paper and incense sticks, and my family of 18 went with me to the back of the apartment. She was really worried about me this time. I guess it's because I don't ever get scared like this. My wife called back my spirit by burning some joss paper and burning incense sticks while chanting a spell to help me. The kids didn't know anything. For them, it was an excuse to stay up late, so they ran around and simply made the area less chilling. We need their innocent souls at times like this. It's like a light that shines over the dark. There's more to be told about Apartment 9. For now, this was my first encounter there. The vividness of it was what scared the living crap out of me. Many of my kids and relatives have also encountered strange paranormal activities here. Next time, I'll let them do the talking. Thank you for listening to Scary Story Shivers Apartment 9. In the next few episodes, my kids will tell their view of encounters in and out of Apartment 9. Again, like, share, and subscribe for more content. Stay shivering.